Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Video. So on day 2 at Jump Festa, we finally got the Ancient Fairy Dragon upgrade, along with a bunch of new support regarding Luna's deck in the Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds anime. Very, very exciting. A lot of cool references here to different scenes and shots from 5Ds. Some really cool retrains of monsters that she used in the 5Ds anime. Now, funny enough, Luna did not duel all that much. I don't even have to look it up. I'm almost positive she had the least amount of duels of any of the signers, and I think that includes her brother Leo as well. So it's finally cool after all these years that she's getting the love that she deserves, because yeah, it's been a while since we've had any thought of Ancient Fairy Dragon getting an upgrade, but we kind of knew this event we would be getting that, and it's great that it's finally here. Obviously, no card signer dragon, at least, has caused more issues for the ban list than Ancient Fairy Dragon, and so it's cool that she's getting an upgrade. Is it any good? Well, let's take a look. Starting with Regulus, the Fairy Beast. So this is obviously a retrain of Regulus, the main lion from the spirit world. It's a level 4 light beast effect monster. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add one spell or trap that mentions Ancient Fairy Dragon. During your main phase, you can special summon one level 4 or lower light beast, plant, or fairy monster from your hand in defense position. You can banish this card from your graveyard, target one field spell in your grave, place it on the bottom of your deck, and then draw one card. And there is a field spell that we are getting in this new set. It's 3 effect monsters, 1 synchro monster, 1 spell, and 1 trap. And moving right along, we have a retrain of Spore, and that is Spore the Fairy Cell. Very cute monster here, and it is a tuner monster. You always want to get those tuner monsters into the deck, obviously, to make the synchros. You can only use the second effect once per turn. If this card is special summoned, you can increase its level by up to the number of monsters you control. And then if this card is in your graveyard and you control Ancient Fairy Dragon or a light beast, plant, or fairy monster, you can special summon this card. Also, you cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of this turn, except synchro monsters. So that does lock you into synchros, but the upgrade for Ancient Fairy Dragon is just 1 higher level than Ancient Fairy Dragon is. So if this is in your grave and Ancient Fairy Dragon's on the field, use this effect, get Spore the Fairy Cell onto the field, and you should be able to synchro summon right away into Ancient Fairy Dragon's upgrade, which we are about to get to. But first, we got to go over a new Kuribon monster, of course. Kuribon, the Fairy Spirit. Obviously, Kuribon was a monster that Luna really followed around. It was kind of like her version of Winged Kuribon to Judai. It was the spirit monster that I would say she was closest with and was always there at her side. So really cool to see Kuribon get a retrain here. And somebody pointed out as well that it's also winking, kind of like Winged Kuribon winks in its card artwork. So maybe that is a reference to another spirit partner, Kuribon, winking just like Winged Kuribon does, which is really cool if that's the case. And of course, it is a retrain of Kuribon. Both effects are once per turn. If you control Ancient Fairy Dragon or a light beast, plant, or fairy monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. And if you do, it is treated as a tuner. So this is also a very easy way to get to the Ancient Fairy Dragon upgrade. And then if another monster you control that is Ancient Fairy Dragon or mentions it would be destroyed by card effect, you can return this card to the hand instead. And that is great because not only does it give your Ancient Fairy Dragon protection, but then on your own turn, you can just resummon it as a tuner because Ancient Fairy Dragon in this case would still be on your field, and then go into the Ancient Fairy Dragon upgrade. So really cool card there, but you guys are here for the upgrade. And the upgrade for Ancient Fairy Dragon is Ancient Fairy Life Dragon. First thing you think of is Life Stream Dragon. At least that's where my mind went, which was, of course, her brother's monster. So I love that her upgrade here has the word life mentioned in it, which, of course, is probably a bit of an ode to her brother Leo's ace monster in Lifestream Dragon. The name of the monster also could reference the chant of Ancient Fairy Dragon, the holy light of protection, now cross and become eternal life. So there's a few different kind of nods to the whole life element here. You have her brother using Life Stream Dragon, and you have the chant of Ancient Fairy Dragon referencing eternal life. So looking back on it in hindsight, it was probably pretty obvious that life, or the word life, would be incorporated into this upgrade name. So really, really cool stuff there. And there is another really cool ode, but we'll get to that after we read the effect. Again, it's a generic material synchro monster. First effect is once per turn. If this card is synchro summoned, you can draw one card, or if the World of Spirits, which, spoiler alert, that's the new field spell we're getting, is on the field, add one Light Beast Plant Fairy monster or one Eternal Sunshine, which is a new trap we're getting, from your deck to your hand instead. Now, that effect is interesting because it mentions, obviously, the World of Spirits, and Ancient Fairy Dragon, of course, is the ruler of the World of Spirits. She is the ruler of the spirit world. So the fact that the upgrade allows you to grab the World of Spirits makes a lot of sense to the ruling power that Ancient Fairy Dragon had over the dual spirit world in general. And then your Ancient Fairy Dragon monster, and monsters that mention it, can attack while in face-up defense position, a little a la Super Heavy Samurai there. If they do, apply their defense for damage calculation. So you put this thing in defense, 3,300 defense points, which can be used as attack. Really, really cool. So it doesn't have any protection. Now, of course, if you have Kuribon on the field, Kuribon is going to give it protection because this monster does mention Ancient Fairy Dragon. It doesn't have any natural protection, but still really cool. You don't have to worry about putting this monster in attack position to get bowled over. You can put it in defense. 3,300 is a really good stat there. And of course, the fact that you can either draw a card, which is always good, or add an Eternal Sunshine or any sort of monster is also a pretty useful effect there. And it's just so cool. With this, every single Signer Dragon now has an upgraded form. I know some people might mention Lifestream Dragon. I view Lifestream Dragon as the upgraded form of Power Tool Dragon. I know Power Tool Dragon also has, I think, Power Braver Dragon. So there is a couple of upgrades for Power Tool, but literally Power Tool transformed into Lifestream Dragon in Yugioh 5Ds. It's hard for me to think that that's not supposed to be the upgrade for Lifestream Dragon, or for Power Tool Dragon, excuse me. But maybe Lifestream Dragon will get an upgrade at some point. Either way, I'm viewing it now as every Signer Dragon has an upgraded form. Really, really cool. And by the way, the monster is beautiful. Literally looks like a queen decked out in like its armor, and it makes sense because again, she was the ruler of the spirit world. So I think they did an A+ job with the artwork. And then we have one spell and one trap. The spell is the World of Spirits, which is a field spell, and it's really cool because it shows a bunch of the spirit world monsters on it: Ancient Fairy Dragon, Kuribon, Wadapon, Keymace, and Sunny Pixie. And of course, the artwork is just the dual monster spirit world, which was a big plot point, not only for Luna's journey, but for the journey of 5Ds in general. Every effect is once per turn. When this card resolves, you can add one monster that mentions Ancient Fairy Dragon from your deck to the hand. You can only activate these next two if you control a level 7 or higher Light Dragon Synchro monster. Each time a monster is special summoned in attack position, change it to defense position. So that is pretty cool. And then once per turn during the end phase, destroy all the turn player's attack position monsters. So if you have this in the field spell zone, you have Ancient Fairy Dragon or Ancient Fairy Life Dragon on the field, every time a monster is special summoned, you can change it to defense, and then you can destroy all the turn player's attack position monsters during the end phase. So definitely some probably interesting combos you can do there. I imagine that's going to be potentially a pretty interesting card. Again, I don't know how good from a competitive standpoint these cards are going to be. I'll let you guys, tell me down below. But with Ancient Fairy Life Dragon's ability allowing it to attack from defense, I imagine that's probably a pretty good way to try to block some of your opponent's monsters from attacking and beating over it. It would be nice maybe if Ancient Fairy Life Dragon maybe pierced I feel like that would be probably a good effect to have along with the World of Spirits, forcing your opponent's special summoned monsters into attack position, into defense position, excuse me. But, you know, what are you going to do? And then the trap we are getting is Eternal Sunshine. Now, Eternal Sunshine is the attack name of Ancient Fairy Dragon in the Yugioh 5Ds anime. And not only Ancient Fairy Dragon appears in this, but Earthbound Immortal Kasula, the Divok Earthbound Immortal, also appears in this card's artwork, and this card artwork is just a scene from the duel between Luna Leo and Divok, where Ancient Fairy Dragon battles the Earthbound Immortal, which is really, really cool. I'll obviously have the scene up for you right now, and I feel like every time we get anime support, especially recently, they always do this. They always take, like, one scene from the show, and they just kind of turn it into the card artwork, which I think is the coolest freaking thing. So Eternal Sunshine is a continuous trap, and you can only use the second effect of this card's name a number of times per turn, up to the number of cards you control that are Ancient Fairy Dragon or monsters that mention it. And obviously, I think every monster we are getting here mentions Ancient Fairy Dragon. So the first effect, monsters you control gain 500 defense for each Ancient Fairy Dragon and each monster that mentions that you control. Once per chain, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Until the end of this turn, its current attack and defense become halved. Also, its effects are negated. So this is once per chain. Keep that in mind. But if you have 3 or 4 monsters that mention Ancient Fairy Dragon or are Ancient Fairy Dragon or Ancient Fairy Life Dragon, you can do this up to 3 to 4 times in a turn. Which is really, really cool. That seems like a really, really potentially good card. And then, of course, Ancient Fairy Life Dragon can potentially have like 5,300 defense points if you have 4 monsters that mention Ancient Fairy Dragon, including Ancient Fairy Life Dragon. And remember, Ancient Fairy Life Dragon attacks with its defense. So this seems like it could be a really interesting card as well. But I gotta say, card artwork wise, while Fairy Life Dragon is my favorite, this is a close second. I love when they take scenes and shots from the anime, and I think it's one of the coolest things that Yu-Gi-Oh does. I think they've done it really, really well with the old Legacy support, and I think this is a really awesome card design. So you guys let me know. Ancient Fairy Dragon's upgrade is here. Ancient Fairy Life Dragon. What do you think? Does it live up to the billing? Was it worth waiting, you know, almost, what, 15 years for? I mean, please let me know all your thoughts on Luna's new cards down below in the comments. I would have loved to see, like, Sunlight Unicorn maybe get a retrain here. Maybe more than, like, the Spores card. I mean, the Spores card, I don't get too, like, excited about. The Kuribon one is cool, and Regulus is cool because of how close Luna was with those cards, but I feel like Sunlight Unicorn is cooler than Spore, so that might be the only thing that I would have preferred they did a little differently, but otherwise, this is a really, really cool wave of support. And again, it is coming out in the Alliance Insight set, which is looking like a very exciting set. So let me know all your thoughts on these reveals and cards down below in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day. Take care, guys.